Shalom Israel, first and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To y'all Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. All right. What I want to discuss with this video is Psalm 64 and 8, where it said that you can read it for yourself. It basically tells you that their tongue shall fall upon themselves, or they're gonna basically destroy themselves with their own tongue. And what that's talking about is well, it could be talking about a lot of things, but definitely America fits the description. Because to give a perfect example, right? I just saw somebody post a video where there must have been some ruling in Poland where it was a ruling in Poland where I guess they passed where abortion is legal or something to that effect. And like there's chaos over there. And the person that posted it said, this is going to be America if you allow religion into government. And my whole thing is, from the beginning of time, religion was part of government. This whole separation of church and state is what's wrong with America. America was designed as a Christian country. When they was talking about freedom of religion, they didn't intend on fucking Satanists coming here, devil worshippers. Satanists, devil worshippers, Muslims. It was intended to be a Christian country. And because they say freedom of religion, other religions basically took that and said, hey, you said freedom of religion, you didn't say within a certain confine. So, and also even our faith, Israelites, we can always say, hey, it's freedom of religion. Even though, like I said, and then the whole thing about injustice for all, which is one of the most misunderstood lines. When they said injustice for all, they didn't say that with us in mind. Black and brown people, Latino, so-called black and Latino people, they didn't have us in mind when they said injustice for all. But we fight for this justice that they preach to us because they said it. Because they said justice for all. We don't know that at the time they wrote that, we were 3/5 of a man, according to them. So there's a big problem with this because they say with liberty and justice for all, we don't get liberty and justice. Because although it was not intended, it's worded that way. So that's a part of their tongue shall fall upon themselves, or they're gonna, I forgot the exact wording, but it tells you basically their words, their tongue, is gonna hurt them. This country is destroyed. Because of all the freedoms that you get, and America sells itself on the word freedom. That freedom wasn't intended to include freedom of being a homosexual, freedom of abortion, freedom of, doing all types of stuff that they do now. These freedoms were not what they meant by freedom. So, because America has no moral code, and that's why the scriptures refer to America as a whore. Because America doesn't have any laws, any real laws governing morals. Why? Because America is a country of dubious morality. At the end of the day, you don't have to have no fucking morals, and you can be considered an upstanding citizen in America. Where ancient laws and traditions that were kept by our ancestors and are still to this day being kept in other countries. They govern, man. But when you're dealing with a kingdom, and this is what's wrong with America. It's not a real kingdom. It's really more of a corporation. It's not a country. It is a country on the books, but it's not technically like a kingdom, right? Because anybody could be president. Not literally anybody, but according to their laws, you can have a Barack Obama who wasn't considered he wasn't considered when they first started having, presidents according to this Constitution and the way they do it now. They didn't foresee that a brown-faced person, even though he's a Hamite, would be president. And all it is, just like General Hashar said years ago. He said Barack Obama is the greatest hoax ever pulled on our people. He's basically the black face of the Illuminati. You notice him and Kamala Harris, right? Their ancestors do not go back to people that were enslaved in North, Central, and South America. In fact, Kamala Harris's family goes back to people that were overseeing the slaves in Jamaica. Not even descendants of actual slaves. Like, that should be telling you something. Barack Obama's a descendant of people of Kenya. That should be telling you something about the way America looks at its native so-called black people. But the point of this video is to point out how America's own words are constantly being used against it. And that is the downfall, that's part of the downfall of America. You have some chick that Silhan Omar, whatever her name is, that's in Congress, Muslim chick, that wouldn't be in any other country. But America and countries like it, like England, there probably are fucking Muslims, not fucking Muslims, I'm not personally disrespecting them, but there probably are Muslims in power in other countries that are influenced by America, such as England. But according to ancient traditions and the way things are supposed to be, Muslims should only have power in Muslim countries. But it goes to show America does things so different, and people get so wrapped up in the way things are in America that they forget that just a few years ago, not even 100 years ago, things were very different. That homosexuals enjoy freedoms in America that they would never have enjoyed in other countries and in other time frames. Even in America, they wouldn't have enjoyed the freedoms. 100 years ago, they didn't have the freedoms that they have now. Men marrying men, you would have never heard about men marrying men back then. It was joked about. I remember one time I was watching Al Bundy. And, one thing I love about Al Bundy is he's basically what you would call a man's man. Now, he's a very manly man. You know what I'm saying? And, the show kind of plays on his ignorance of homosexuals. And as it should. Because we should all be ignorant of homosexuals. There shouldn't be any homosexuality practiced. Yeah, I gotta forgive me, man. I was up late watching the football game, so I'm kind of tired. It's 4 in the afternoon. I haven't had a chance to rest. But that's by my own doing. Because I want to be up late watching the game. But the freedoms that people enjoy in this country are fairly new to humans, period. People didn't always think it's okay to eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, and all these other abominable animals. I'm going to look into when they actually started being eaten, but it wasn't, and it wasn't all parts of the world. This law that the Most High gave Israel, he didn't give to everybody, but a lot of people stole it. Like Jewish people. Arabs stole our dietary law on pig, and from what I'm understanding, even seafood is not lawful in traditional Arabic culture. Like, if you're really traditionally Islamic, you shouldn't be eating shrimp either, from what I hear. But I'm not going to teach that for doctrine or proclaim it because I don't know for sure. But I can definitely assure you that these laws, statutes, and commandments were stolen and taken from us and followed by other nations, in many cases even better than us. So you would think, like, well, God doesn't even require Arabs not to eat pork. They took it upon themselves to realize how filthy the animal was off of our laws. God doesn't require certain things of these other nations. They do it because they're mimicking us. Because in many ways, they probably think that they can get closer to God by doing it. And by the way, for anybody that's going to give me grief about using the word God, you have to understand that I'm not like a lot of y'all that teach just for people that already know. I teach for people that don't know the truth. I thought that's what we all were supposed to be doing. So if I use God, if I use Jesus to reference who I'm speaking about, all those in the know should know, but those that don't know are the ones that I'm teaching for. So don't give me crap about using the word God or using the word Jesus. It's for the people that don't know. But anyway, I digress. So, what I was gonna say, but yeah, this society, the words in their laws are constantly used against them, because that's just the way they designed it. They didn't design it thinking, and this is what the problem is. America's such a young country. You have countries that have been in existence for hundreds, in some cases thousands of years. Just going by different names or ruled by different people. America's probably, it's not even 300 years old. As a country, America isn't even 300 years old. As a country that was taken over by totally different people. Because if Saudi Arabian people take over Kuwait, they might be different tribes, but they have similarities in their culture that allow them to take over each other or whatever, and not the life on those countries don't change like that. Like North Korea can invade South Korea, and at the end of the day, the culture isn't going to change much because it's one faction of the same culture. Maybe the style of government is going to change, and that's it. Same thing with North Vietnamese and South Vietnamese, or East Germany and West Germany. It's the same fucking people. They just believe in two different political ideologies which separate them. But the way America is, and the way America has handled its legislation, it's a very young country to begin with. Because like I said, you're dealing with a country that's not even, I don't think it's not even 250 years old. Like it's on the young end of the 200s. So in order for America to really govern itself by a real code, and it's funny because in its little time in existence, America has so much influence over the other countries. Other countries are taking cues from the freedoms of America. So in other countries, you do have now more homosexuals. You have more just evil shit, abortions and drugs. All the evil stuff that's in America is now going into other countries. If you go into any country's ancient ways of doing things. They don't have the stuff historically that America has. In the little time that America's been in power, it has influenced nations to do evil. But ultimately, the main point of this video is to point out how America's tongue is, falling upon itself. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.